Warm welcome back here on the show, and thanks for staying with us here. It's our last lap, and this week a lot has happened in terms of students who were supposed to go to school and learn. Unfortunately, we're engaged in violence, and it's brought a lot of what you call maybe reforms, the education system. Now, in Central Region, as we speak, there has been a ban or a suspension on anything that has to do with sporting activity. The interzonals that we all know, following the incident that happened at the Swazbu, and then there's another one that has happened in Cape Coast as well. Yesterday, we understand that some Antisco boys were also involved in some violence as well. And it's becoming a big problem right now. We're trying to see how best we can resolve that. The president will also be giving us the State of the Nation address on Friday. A lot of people want to hear a lot of things, said and all that. So we're getting into that conversation also with regards to this very own, which is the education sector. We want to speak to Dr. Peter Anti. He's the Executive Director, Institute for Education Studies, and we want to find out what the steps have been taken to ensure that we don't get to experience this again, all right? And also, what do you want to hear the president say on Friday, which is, of course, where we're going to have SONA also being delivered as well, all right? So send your messages. We want to try as much as possible and engage you and let us know what you think about that. If we have Dr. Peter Anti, maybe we can get to him and then speak to him about the very issue that is happening. Peter, very good morning to you. How are you doing?
Good morning, sir. I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. And thanks for your time this morning here on the show. First of all, I would like us to take a look at the incident that happened. And a lot of people believe that this is not the first time we're hearing this. Maybe this has gone at a different level because we're able to put it on social media. And that's the reason why we're all, talking about it. But it's believed that it's something that has been happening. How did we get to this point?
Well, I think that sometimes we always want to give excuses for things that we need to fix. I personally do not want to get into the argument of it's always been happening, but now, because of social media, that is why we are seeing it. That doesn't still make it right. And for me, we should be asking ourselves, why are we getting to that stage? I believe that there are multiple issues that are contributing to this. I've said that the caliber of, children we are dealing with, this particular generation, their mindset and everything is different from the ones that us and then older generation used to have. And so every generation and how you need to handle them. And I feel that I've not been able to handle them effectively. I also think that the age brackets, these are people who are adolescents, teenagers. They are charting their own path. There's a high level of peer pressure. They need direction, they need supervision, they need monitoring. So if you minimize all these things, they want their freedom, and they get involved in other things that you normally would not want them to do. So I think that we have also minimized supervision, monitoring, and other things. And that is also contributing to the experiences that we are having. I also believe that there's not enough deterrent in terms of those who have already, undertaken some of these activities. So the others stay back and see that they did this last year. And according to the police, last year when they did the sporting activities, especially in the central region, some of these things happened and nothing happened. So the students feel that this is a normal thing that we can always do. And of course, we will have people coming in to speak for us, defend, and here we are. I also think that the elders, the older people have also not helped the generation. In this era of social media, all our acts and activities are also monitored by these kids. So eventually they are learning from some of the things that we do. So if you have a Parliament of Ghana that can't draw on issues and results in all kinds of behavior that is not honorable, and this video is all over the place, then you are telling the kids that this is a right way of dealing with your opponent. In fact, when you don't agree with your opponent, you can also go that way, destroy property, and they learn from it. So it's a multiplicity of factors that is contributing to it, and I don't want us, the older generation, to only blame them. We have also contributed to this, and the earlier we check our actions and reactions to issues, the better it will be for us.
The major concern, from other people has been the fact that a student or a child that has been put to school would actually harbor so much hate to the extent that even a particular activity that is supposed to be bringing unity or love would end up into someone believing that I can actually jump and stand on the neck of another person just to harm the person. And it tells you, if they say charity begins at home, if I'm a parent, I'll be looking at this and be wondering, what kind of teachings, what kind of upbringing are we giving these kids? Is that not supposed to be a worry?
It's supposed to be a worry. I believe that we parents are also not doing much in terms of bringing our children up in a way that they would be responsible in society. But I will put a little premium on that because, you see, we cannot regulate how parents bring up their children. There's nothing that we can do about it. The best we can do is to admonish, and when they go wayward, we try to name and shame, and that is it. But there's something that we can do about the school system. In this country, I've been on record to have said that these adolescents will spend 14 years of their lives in educational institutions. 2 years KG, 6 years primary school, 3 years DHS, and then 3 years senior high school. 14 good years of their lives. If you take away the vacation periods, every week from Monday to Friday, they spend roughly 8 hours in school. So if the school system is not able to also mold the behavior of the child, and is only interested in the grades that the children will get, then the school system, the education system has also failed. For example, remember in those days when we were going for sporting activities, it was an avenue for socialization.
Yeah.
You go and meet friends from other schools, especially those of us from category B and C schools. You have friends, you get friends from the category A schools, and you are so happy because when you go back to school, you interact with them, and that was a period that you feel very happy going now. The school system has not been able to train these kids to appreciate that competition does not mean that the individual is an enemy. And that is something that you place barely at the square or at the door of the educational system that we have. We have been so much interested in the cognitive development. We have thrown away affective development, socio-emotional issues, and that is the result of what we are seeing. Because if you are training the child going through this educational system, then there should be an element that will prompt the child to understand that where there is competition, that does not mean that we are enemies, and that you treat the other one as an opponent that deserves the kind of harm that they decided to make on the student. So yes, parents have a role to play, but I have to say that the school system, through our curriculum, has also failed us.
In terms of accountability, there was one major thing that we saw when this CID boss visited the institutions. In fact, the headmaster was asked to identify the students who took part in that, violence. he was giving excuses. In fact, he was just about giving excuses for that in terms of how he's going to identify them and all that, until the CID boss says that whether you can or not, I am giving you 24 hours to be able to do this, because you should be able to account for every student and what they do in this school. How has headmasters or institution heads taking accountability of students that are coming to their school and leaving the school? Some people are now asking that we should be able to give the students ID cards to be able to identify them. Have we failed in that aspect too as well, in terms of school heads?
Well, as for ID cards, I think some of the schools have ID cards for their students. You see, that is why I'm saying that the students we are dealing with are very difficult. And so you need to bring in multiple responses to be able to contain them. Headmasters are accountable. In fact, the school is supposed to be a safe haven. One of the things that we are proposing to the Ministry of Education to look at a general school safety framework, because a student in the school system is supposed to feel so free. He shouldn't anticipate any form of violence or whatever, because the school environment is for teaching and learning. And that is what it's supposed to be. What the CID boss was trying to communicate is that the head, as the head of the institution, is ultimately responsible for each individual child in the school. Whether he knows them or not is not a matter of concern. He is supposed to know, be responsible for whatever happens to every single individual in the school. And then when a child is left in the hands of the school authority, whatever happens to the child, the head is responsible for that. The CID could have gone into the school, did their own investigation, and then arrest those cases. But that would not have been executed, because that institution is supposed to be an educational institution, and it has its head. And at the tertiary level, you don't do that. So it was duty bound on the headmaster or whoever the head of the institution is to ensure that those kids that were involved in that activity are handed over to the law enforcement agencies. And that is exactly what the CID was trying to communicate. Imagine you are a parent. You took your child to Swazbu or any of this, and then one day you are going through social media and you see your child being told like a criminal. How will you feel? And that is why teachers and heads should also take some level of responsibility. I know that, yes, there's been different conversations around this. The teachers have been disarmed in terms of how they enforce discipline issues on campus and other things. But so far as we have agreed to the teachers and we accept children in our school environment, we are partially responsible for what happens to them. And I think that if we are taking students out for a sporting program, there are standard protocols to follow. I'm told that every 20 students will have one teacher accompanying them. Did we follow that protocol? The security system within the area that we're having the games, how was it? Were there enough police people available? So all those mechanisms are things that we need to take into consideration, and then ask the head, who is not only the academic head of the institution, but also responsible for security, to tell us to what extent or what happened that the case that we have left in his hands ended in that situation. So it's just a matter of accountability. It doesn't mean that the heads were investigated that, but because you are the head of the institution, I think that it comes with some responsibility, and you need to be held accountable if anything of that sort happens.
Now, the issue would be about future occurrences. And earlier you spoke about punitive measures, and if we've been able to even do enough to ensure that, those who see these things happening and what has been happening to those who perpetrate these things are not given a certain punishment that will make them even think that, well, if I also go and do it, it doesn't look like I'm going to be held responsible that much. I may have to go through a few things and I'll be cleared off. In terms of the future, what are some of the things that strongly you believe that if we're able to do, some of these things will be happening? Students under that age, how do we ensure that even if they are going to be having any term of service or imprisonment, if you want, we're able to give them a certain level of appreciation of their age limits so that it will still serve as a deterrent to the others who in future will be doing this?
Well, I think that I've stated on other platforms that this is an opportunity for the Ministry of Education to show leadership. Yeah, there are pieces of regulations, code of conduct here and there that is designed to contain some of these things. And I think that the ministry should use this opportunity to put them together to develop a broader national framework of school safety and discipline. And that is the proposal that we have submitted to the Ministry of Education, hoping that they will pick one or two issues from that policy proposal. So I think the answer is more from the ministry policy direction perspective, which will now trickle down to the GES and then other schools, under the Ghana Education Service. What I also think that we should be looking at is to be more proactive, or what sometimes they call preventive than reactive. We have been reactive, and this goes to Ghana Education Service and even the Ministry of Education. We wait for the event to happen, and then we issue a statement and say that we are investigating. That we were investigating the issue that happened at Ashanti region with the rape case and then the distraction, and then the central region issue came in, and then the eastern region also came in. So it means that we are just reacting to the event. It means that we have not done enough to contain such situations and then prevent them. So yes, we have been reactive. We have escalated some of the issues that are criminal to the police, and then those that are normal school challenges, we are there's likelihood that the school authorities would instill the proper or make sure that the proper measures are undertaken. But we also have to be preventive. And that is why a broader policy framework is needed, which would not only look at these disciplinary issues, but also see how we'll be able to guide these kids in terms of their behavioral formation. So you have your guidance and counseling unit that is supposed to be resourced and equipped to be able to do this behavioral analysis and see how best to be able to guide these kids as they build their personality through the education system. You also have to identify some of these schools. Some of these schools are red flags. We know that in some of the schools, the very moment they step out, they are going to cause chaos. Mm-hmm. So it means that if you have that database, anytime you have an activity that school is coming around, you need to now activate your security protocol. And these are preventive measures. You don't wait for them to go and crash with other schools and then you come and say we are investigating. So a national framework would address this issue. And I think that the ministry has a brilliant opportunity to show leadership and ensure that they nip this in the bud once and for all.
Other places where maybe some of these things are happening that we've not been able to you see it, being amplified the way we've seen this one, in the public space and all of that. In fact, we understand that in Cape Coast at this school also, there's another similar issue like that also happening. And look, it's that, all across the country, the upbringing of these people seem to be more problematic more than just they becoming the future leaders that we're looking at. And I was asking the same question on X, that are these the future leaders that we're actually bringing up? And nationalistically, is this not becoming a problem? And I'm asking this because the president will be addressing the nation on a Friday. It's not something that the president, even at the higher level, they're supposed to be taking seriously, based on the fact that we are training these people to take over from the people that are currently in position.
I think this president has shown interest in these indiscipline issues. I remember he commented on the Kede issue when the students attacked the teacher. And after that comment, I think the police took the issue to the law courts and those students were fined. Unfortunately, we had another issue happen at WAS, the same teacher assault issue. I think that the president might hint on that. Maybe the president will give us one or two directives that he's giving to the Minister of Education and by extension the Ghana Education Service to contain this issue. And I think it's an issue that is taking a national dimension. And it will be interesting to hear what the president thinks about this and his general comment on it.
One other interesting thing that you mentioned, which has to do with the way the politicians behave themselves in the floor of parliament. In fact, some of the chaos that we've seen over the period and what the impact has been in terms of these young ones who also, by virtue of access to social media or phones, are able to see how people of that, honorable states behave when they are there. In fact, there are students who once in a while also go to the Parliament House to see how proceedings in the Parliament House actually go on. And if these people are all seeing this and they come out there and they see how honorable these people are and how they behave, is it not supposed to be now an issue of how Parliament conducts themselves moving forward? Is it not something that we should also take very seriously now, looking at the fact that most of these students even go there to look at how things happen over there?
I think all of us, parents, leaders, all of us, we should show leadership. We should see how we conduct ourselves right from our houses, how we relate with our kids, to our workplace, and then on the various media platforms, how we relate with each other. We need to take a particular interest in that. More so with those who are supposed to be honorable and put up a certain behavior that is supposed to be something that others will learn from. You see, in education, we have what we call the hidden curriculum. There are things that students learn consciously or unconsciously. So you think that you are doing your normal politics, but to the students, that is a behavior that is acceptable and that is applauded. Because here we have seen people coming on social media to defend some of these irresponsible behavior that our leaders exhibit. So the students feel that when I have a disagreement with school A, one way that I can do A is to destroy their property. Because, of course, they did that in Parliament. And somebody was on radio defending it. And that is why I think all of us, we should be very careful because we are building a society. And these kids, as I said, they are at their habit formation or behavior formation stage. And so they pick so many things in the environment. And if you are not careful, you would end up allowing them to pick things that would technically be negative to them. And so I agree with you. We should all be careful how we carry ourselves in the public domain, especially those who have the title of honorable on them.
All right, we'll be wrapping up, but before we do so, I think this is going to be a very big responsibility on the shoulders of the Ministry of Education. There has been suspension of activities, sports activities in the central region. I'm not too sure whether, in your opinion, you think that this is the solution to the problem that we are having, or we can go a step further, because at the end of the day, sports also play a very important role in the upbringing of these students, and also the kind of effect that it has on them eventually. Suspension, to what extent? How long are we going to have the suspension on it? Is it going to be the main solution to the problem? Beyond the suspension, there are others that are happening at other places as well. Are we going to have also those places also suspended? What does that make for our sports in ministry as well?
So this is what I've been thinking. Yeah, the suspension was an immediate reaction which was needed, looking at how things were escalating. So yeah, you immediately have to suspend the sporting activities. But I think in this country, in other places in the world, where supporters misbehave, we just ban supporters from going to the stadium. And then we allow the sporting fraternity to undertake the activities. Because you see, we need these talents also. So not because some supporters of a particular school are misbehaving, we are also going to, put sand in someone's garage. We are also going to prevent people with talent from showcasing it. So I think that immediately you suspend the school, but I think going forward, you will need to practice some of these things that we normally do. Only the sporting team would allow to go for the program, and everybody else stays on campus. And I think that is another option that we can look at. Then you also go through the broader perspective of developing a national school safety and discipline framework, which should come from the Ministry of Education. And with the experience and exposure of the Minister of Education, I don't think this is something that is over him. I think he's got the capacity to steer around this and ensure that we get the best out of our students who are talented in various sporting activities. At the same time, we make sure that discipline reigns supreme in our educational institutions.
Doug, I'm grateful for your time this morning here on Prime Morning. I really appreciate it. It's been insightful, and I'm grateful for your time.
Thank you.
Great. Dr. Peter Antis, Executive Director for Institute for Education Studies, joining us this morning here on the show to speak on the issue of the violence that we've seen in various institutions where students are supposed to be going for sporting activities, then it ends up into some very serious violence. And he's been giving us some very, very insightful solutions also on the issue and how we can go about it. Now, I'm going to try and see if we can open the phone lines for about 5 minutes. We've got just 5 minutes to actually do this and see what you also think should be the way forward, what you can add up to the already existing solutions that Doc has given us here, and the insight that is also provided for the problem of students engaging in violence during sporting activities. There has been suspension in Central Region as far as interzonals is concerned. There's another situation that happened in Cape Coast. We are not too sure what the ministry is saying about it, or what the new update on that is. We'll definitely try and get the update for you so you can also know what exactly is happening with that case as well. But don't forget that you can always join us here on the conversations that we have on Facebook. We're streaming live and also on WhatsApp. We're opening up. This month of March, Ghana month, we've got something special that we'll be having on the 20th to 21st. I'll tell you more about what Joy FM would also be doing on the trip that they're going. And also some other interesting things that you want to be a part of. Let me probably share with you what Joy FM is putting together so you can also be a part of. It's a trip they're putting together, and it's all the way in the safari, which is going to be very exciting. If you've not booked your seat yet, you might as well want to go ahead and book your seat. It's Joy Safari Experience 2025, and it has Aqua Safari Island boat rides. They've got water jetting, sightseeing, and also lakeside branch as well. And then Safari Valley, we've got the bonfire and musical night, and then also bed and breakfast for you. Hiking in a very scenic views and brunch buffet, and also some guided tour into the wildlife as well. You don't want to miss out on that. Book your seat. It's on the 20th to 21st of March 2026. And it's going for singles 5,000 cities and double 8,000 Ghana cities. Now call on 053 100 3813 and also be a part of that experience right now. I'd like to go to Cape Coast, which has been one of the places we've spoken about in this conversation. There's a caller that I want to speak to find out what her thought is on this very issue as well. If you can hear me, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
I believe this is Presla.
Yes, please.
All right, please go ahead. What do you want to say?
Okay, so about the indiscipline in the schools, sometimes it's as a result of the old students who come around to witness some of the sporting activities. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they come into the schools wearing their school uniforms because they are all students to come and support. And sometimes because of the grudges that they have already with some other schools, they use that opportunity to revise those grudges. And those things end up with those chaoses and violence in the schools. So what I'm also suggesting is that, as the man was talking about, sometimes when they are having the sporting activities, it should be between only the sporting groups in the school. Like if it is athletics, only the athletic group, they should be allowed to go and then have the competition. Then they select just a cute number of students to go and cheer them up, because whenever there's a competition like this, they need someone to cheer them up. So just a few students who they think will not cause chaos and other stuff. And there should be intensive security. So the security, they will ensure that whoever is coming there, if a student, if they can at least do a name tag for them to distinguish them from the selected students and then the normal people who will be coming around to cheer them. I think that is also going to help.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I also share in that. I mean, way back in school, I was part of the team, the sports team. I was playing football and doing athletics as well. And usually, when you're doing this, most of the ones that are alumni also try and then come and be part of it. And they even wear the uniform because they're all students. And so, yes, that's also another thing we should look at. But, of course, that will be a wrap on our conversation this morning here on the show. Ghana Fest is also coming, and I want you to be a part of it. Tomorrow, I'll share with you some of the details on that here on Prime Morning. My name is KMJ. I did this with Shola Adeyemi, and, of course, Muftau and Abila also joining us, Cecilia the Golden Girl, Koku Asante, Sheila Sechi. And tomorrow, we're back again here at 6 a.m. Many thanks to the production team.